Hey everyone, I'm Gusharan and welcome to the iteration planning for iteration 2. In this video, we are going to disaggregate the tasks for the story which were left for the iteration 2. Uh, as you can see, we have some of the stories which were finished for the iteration 1, and we have a couple of stories left for at least 1. And over here, we are going to discuss the remaining stories and how can we convert those stories into the disaggregated tasks for the implementation purposes. Okay, so in the previous video, we left with the story where a driver can search for a specific location, and now what we want is if a driver want to view additional information. So how can we implement that story while we go into the implementation phase? So first of all, the constraint of this story is that the user has to previously log into the session, and then only he can go to view the additional information. So I wrote some couple of tasks which we can change based on the comments. And by the way, for this workshop, it's only me who's actually hosting the workshop, and I'm not the only one who's going to commentate or who will be take charge of it and what would be the estimation time. All right. So since we are making this project in Android, so basically in Android we have backend business class for holding the widgets, and then we have the user interface which we mainly code in XML. So we can either use Java or Kotlin for the logic, but for the user interface we only have XML. So yeah, as for making this story implemented in our project, we need an XML screen which will show the information based on the selected parking spot. And then we need a Java class which will hold the widgets and which will populate those widgets onto the screen. So mainly for every XML screen, most likely we need a Java class to do some operations. Even if we need to just populate those widgets onto the screen, we still need a Java class. And we potentially need the read methods. So we need to get the information that the user requested for that particular parking spot. So we need a read method which will query into the database with a particular parking ID that will be given that will be taken from the previous screen, and it will be used for searching purposes. Okay, so the view XML screen. Basically, in our team, most of the front end will be taken care by Manpreet. So I'm going to write their names in the case, and most likely I'll be following the rest of the task. And the read method will again, since we're using Firebase, so we don't need any queries or procedures or the causes to read the values. So we have our cloud database which will be Firebase, and we only need the methods in our Java class. So again, it's going to be in the same class, so it will be handled by me. And I think since normally for every XML file, it usually takes like 2.5 hours. Since this will contain more information and we need to bind the data, so I would say it's going to be 2.5. And for the Java class, I guess it's again going to 2.5, and this will probably 0.5. since it's only one method which will do the query and then get the values from the DB. Okay, so the next story is as a driver, I want to share a parking spot so that other users are able to view it. So normally when we have a spot, and so in our case, user don't want to hold or pay for that parking spot, but instead he wants to share this parking spot to some other users so that they can view the spots, and they can use the link to view that parking spot, and then they can actually hold or pay for it based on what they want. So in our case, it's going to be very simple. This story is actually very simple. So it's actually going to be divided into two tasks. So we need a on share click method, which will hold the event for the button, for the share button. So I will say it's going to be me again, since this is a small story. So I don't want to bother everyone who take care of this story, and I guess this will probably be one since this story is actually very small. Okay, so next is when a user want to continue viewing the spots, but he don't want to log in, he just want to continue the session as a guest. So in our case, so we probably need a has authorization method, which will be in the authorization component if we think our project is in Angular. So we're going to have that same approach in Android also. So we are going to have has authorization method. So if that particular user, even if it's a host or a driver, so that has authorization method will check if they are registered into the database, and if they are, then they can go to the further steps, or if they are not, then they will be in the normal mode, which will be the guest mode. So again, I will take care of it, and yeah, this will probably take 1 hour, not more than that. Well, we probably need a has authorization method, and we may export this method to different classes. So based on the scenarios, it will depend. Excuse me. Okay, so we jump to the next story. So now we come to our second main user, which is a host. So in this story, we have that if we have a new host and they want to register into the system to host their parking location, so first they need to register it, and then only they can add the spots. So I guess this story is going to be big. We probably need, again, we need an XML screen for the views, and it will be taken care by Monpri, since we divide the roles that all the content will be taken care by Monpri, and the Java class, since the Java class will only need to hold those widgets, and this will be taken by Goodfield, I guess, since he's also working on some of the classes. So I guess it's going to be okay with him, and I will take care of the right method to insert those. Sorry. Sorry. So as I was saying, to insert those values submitted by the user, and which are submitted by the host, and those will be inserted into the database. So again, since for the layout, it's going to be kind of time consuming, since we have to finalize which kind of layer we are using, what the fonts and those kind of things. I guess is probably a good idea to use linear layout, which will be much faster rather than using a constraint layout. And for the other views, we have to first brainstorm those task, the story, and then the required task which is needed for that particular story. And considering those 2 points, will decide whether we have to use the linear layout or the relative or the constraint layout. Okay, and for this task, I guess again it will be probably between 1.5 to 2, but considering the time constraints and everything, we'll make it as quick as possible. So this will probably 1.5 hour. That's my prediction. And again, the right method is going to be easy, I guess, since it's just a straightforward. All the validation for these, it's actually a good idea to include those validation in the server side. But in our case, we are going to hold all the validation in the front end. And then once all the validations are done, and if the user somehow actually didn't do and didn't enter any wrong value to the required field, then it will be submitted into the database. All right, so next we have the final story, which is the authentication for the host. So if as a host, he or she wants to log in into a system so that they can access the parking lots or what kind of whatever the parking lots they have added into the system, and maybe they want to change some information or they want to delete some spots. So it particularly depends on them, but we need the authentication screen similar to the driver. We need it over here too. So again, since this is probably this again needs XML screen and the Java class, so I will take care of the as authorization method, and the XML class will be by monthly, and the read write update methods I will volunteer for you, and the exclamation time for these ones, I guess the read write method and the update method is probably going to take a lot, since we need to do the queries in the database. So it will probably take more time, I guess, over here. And the hash acceleration method, we already coded it, so it's going to be easy, I guess. And again, the XML screen, we have the template time that we decided is going to be at least 2 hours. That's what we decided. So we stick with that. Yeah, and these were all the disaggregated tasks for the iteration parameter. We have some of the stories which are actually moved from iteration 1 to iteration 2, but we already did disaggregation. So we don't need to do that again. Yeah, so pardon me. So we almost reached to the host part. So now we are done with the driver functionality, and now we come to the to our second user, which is the host, and we need to add the functionalities in our app for the host. So this week is going to be all the stuff will be done on the host. All right, so I guess we are good with the disaggregation for the tasks required for the stories, and we'll meet you soon again for the iteration thing. Thank you for watching our video. Hope you have a good one.